Step into the sunlight, but don't look into the sun. Written by Khatzumoto, posted in May of 2013. Quote, "The practice of sun gazing is dangerous. Looking directly at the sun for even brief periods of time may cause blindness or severe damage to the eye." Quoted from Wikipedia. One of my favorite things to do is to go to high or wide open places and look at stuff. I love looking at planes, helicopters, far off buildings, women getting dressed inside said buildings. Wait, no, don't worry, I don't even like women. Liking women is for poofters. Wait. Okay, no. So I was playing Frisbee in the park the other day. Frisbee playing being interspersed with breaks to look at helicopters flying overhead. And it occurred to me how beautiful the day was and how much I was enjoying and benefiting from the sunlight. I take my vitamin D intake very seriously. And it also occurred to me how, while I was enjoying the sun, and it was, and is, directly or indirectly powering all life on Earth, I wasn't looking at it at all. I was looking at what it shone upon. I was looking at discs, and dogs, and kids, and couples making out. But I wasn't looking at the sun. One doesn't simply look at the sun. You enjoy the sun, you know it's there, you're unsure whether or not to capitalize it, you feel it, you're bathed in its warmth, even at night. But you don't look at it. Footnote 1. Even though the sun's light was instrumental to both my Frisbee game and my continued respiration, oxygen, photosynthesis, you know how we do, I unconsciously but assiduously avoided eye contact, treating the sun as if it were an ugly girl at a party. Except she's the hostess, so I was doing this to her in her own house. Very cruel, sick, and wrong. End footnote. So yeah, I love looking at stuff. Recently, I even purchased a field scope to aid in the purpose. The warning label on my field scope, which is optical geek speak for a monocular or portable telescope, reads, in Japanese, "Do not look at the sun. May cause loss of sight, you raving poof." A welcome, if excessively homophobic warning. I don't know about you, but I'll be writing a stern letter of disapproval to the poof said vixen who manufacture the scope and tell them to get their act together. You need the sun. You love the sun. If you're of English ancestry, you gladly risk chronic illness to get some more of it. But even then, you don't look at it. Big goals are a lot like that. Big goals like, native-like fluency. Just as looking directly at the sun can cause visual blindness, looking directly at big goals can cause schlep blindness. It's nice to know that the big goal is there, but often it's too big and shiny and 93 million miles away and overwhelming in its awesomeness to be gazed at directly, certainly without safety gear. The big central goal, the sun around which our actions presumably orbit, can overwhelm and disorient us with its size and power and magnitude. We wonder, rightfully, how could we possibly get there from here? It's just too much to take in. Our minds, our bodies, cannot process it, cannot fathom it. We reel at the mere idea and coil up like a little centipede. We seek refuge in mindless TV, cigarettes, and alcohol because, despite their concomitant disadvantages, these escapes are so doable. They make sense. We can win at them. The sun is too bright to look at. It can literally, physically hurt to look directly at the big goal. Looking at the metaphorical sun can throw you into a dizzying tailspin of despair and avoidance. So don't. Look at it, that is. Enjoy the biggie. Footnote 2. Discipline is remembering what you want. Quoted from David Campbell. But don't look at it. Focus back here. This one word, this one action, this one click. This is all that exists. This is all that matters. Do not look directly at goal. May cause schlep blindness. Unless you have specific tools, for example a lifetime calendar, analogous to eclipse viewing glasses, and a specific reason, do not look at the sun. You must not if you want to keep your mental vision intact and thus keep being able to see the paths and opportunities that are right in front of you, right underfoot. Call it the solar principle. Footnote 3. Kind of reminiscent of how, in Greek mythology, mortals would just keel over and die like little canaries if they saw residents of Mount Olympus and other such beings in their true form. End footnote. And this solar principle is probably why you're better off not sharing your goals with other people. Footnote 4. Although I have heard the opposite advice from smart, successful people as well, so probably both strategies are true in that they both work. Indeed, strategies and tactics are never true or false, they just either work or they don't. End footnote. Not necessarily because you can deal with it, although that's often true, but because they can't handle the whole truth. So if you want their cooperation, or simply non-interference as the case may be, don't blind the poor bastards. Perhaps you now have the mental equipment to look directly at the psychological sun, but they don't, and you're hurting them by shining it in their faces. Footnote 5. Although, at the same time, as a man named Jerry Gillies recently put it, quote, "You can't be afraid to spread your wings just because someone close to you might get a face full of feathers." End footnote. And this doesn't make them bad people. They're not dream stealers, they're not energy vampires, they're not monsters. They're just not ready to look right at the sun. It's too much of a shock to their fragile systems, and that's fine. They can still enjoy the light and warmth. Work them through it in baby steps, like a frog in progressively warmer water, and before you know it, you can have them in a compound in Guyana committing mass suicide with you and their children. Too soon? No, but seriously, like blinders on a racehorse, you can take yourself and other people to any extreme of excellence or lameness if you merely narrow the mental focus away from the debilitatingly magnitudinous core goal and towards productive, forward-moving, helpful minutiae. Footnote 6. Do something small, useful now. There's a reason why the people who serve you at McDonald's don't see or refer to the corporate business plan. It would just get in the way of their being helpful. End footnote. In other words, don't even try to brush your teeth, just put the toothbrush in your mouth. Let the full truth be something that emerges, something you allow to emerge, rather than something you go out and declare. It's neither possible nor necessary nor helpful to tell the whole truth, not to yourself and certainly not to other people, who I assure you have immeasurably little interest in you and your life. Footnote 7. Basically, nobody thinks well of you and nobody thinks ill of you because, drumroll, nobody thinks of you, period. What's in it for me is the perennial human question. You are the top story in just about nobody else's mind, give or take some rounding error and brief flashes in the order of seconds. End footnote. It can't be done. You don't even know the names of the chemicals that are in your body. You don't introduce yourself by your full government name. When I ask you what time it is, you don't even give it to me in seconds, let alone nanoseconds. You probably even round up the minutes, you mendacious knave, you. Footnote 8. True story, when I was a kid, like 5 or 7, I used to think that not giving the exact time in minutes was lying. No joke, winky face. End footnote. Many things are true, but that doesn't mean that they need to be said, noted, or acknowledged regularly, if at all. Ain't nobody got time for that. In politics and espionage and stuff, they talk about things being on a need-to-know basis. Well, let me hit you with some knowledge, sister. When it comes to you and your goals, not only do people not need to know, they don't even want to know. Knowing would simply harm and annoy them. Don't be fooled by the questions, it's small talk. Footnote 9. Arguably, your BHAGs, or big, hairy, audacious goals, don't belong in situations where people are launching the feces, or shooting the shit. Or maybe they do, I don't know. End footnote. No one actually wants to know. They want to feel important and included, they want the privilege of being privy, but this is a thirst for love, status, and acceptance, not knowledge. If they truly wanted to know something, they would read a book, not ask you idle questions. To recap, you don't look at the sun unless you have the equipment to do so, and don't show it to other people unless they do as well, but feel free to enjoy and share little rays of sunlight here and there. So, you're not learning Japanese anymore, you're here just learning this one word. You're just tinkering. Maybe the next word will be a Japanese one too, but that's neither here nor there. Avert your eyes.